Epic Games podcast. I am Ragzilla. She is Flack.
Hello.
And we have a special Comic-Con edition of the podcast today. Now, Flack, you actually lived in San Diego for several years, right? So you've been to Comic-Con before.
I've been to Comic-Con several times.
What's that experience like?
Oh, it's exciting. It's fun. There's lots of comic book people. Now there's a lot more movie people and game people. The first time I ever played UT3 was at Comic-Con.
Awesome. So, if you're listening, we have two actually panels for Epic Games at Comic-Con this year. One for Gears of War Judgment and one for Fortnite. The bad news is, if you're listening to this podcast, they've already happened. If you didn't go in person, you didn't see them. But the good news is that we have you covered. So we're going to be talking about Fortnite today with a special guest, Tanya Jessen, producer from Epic Games. So, Tanya, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Very happy to talk about Fortnite stuff.
Yeah, so it's got to be pretty exciting, right? So you showed the trailer in December, generated a lot of excitement, but also a lot of questions for fans. Kind of been a little bit quiet since then. What's the team been up to since December?
Well, there's been a lot going on since December. We have officially made the announcement that we're transitioning the project when we showed it originally in December to be an Unreal Engine 4 title, which is really, really huge for us and the company. And that was a really neat metamorphosis because we were making a game with the idea that this would be something we'd make really fast and we'd put out there kind of as an experiment to see what people thought. And the company saw such potential with the game and how fun it was that they saw this as being something really long term for the company. So us moving to Unreal Engine 4 meant that we really see this as a game that's going to be out there for a long time, that we're going to keep updating, and it's really going to be a living project for us, and it's going to help the engine too, make the engine better as well.
How did Fortnite come about?
Well, Fortnite, it's really interesting because I'm sure if you're listening, you've probably heard about our game jam that we've done at Epic. And Fortnite actually didn't come out of the game jam, but it was right around that time when everybody's thinking of small project ideas. It was pretty much right after, I believe, there were a bunch of pitches floating around. I had an idea of a game that would be more specific to different roles of how people play together, like somebody who has more of a scavenging and exploration type personality. How could they play a game with somebody who liked action games much more?
Right.
And have it be a little bit more just really, really fun, like you and your boyfriend, or you and your cousin, and just different personalities coming together. Cliff at the time had an idea of it was more of an open-ended, dynamic world with building and crafting style gameplay. And we had another gameplay programmer that was experimenting a lot with having a combination of a hub, more of an open hub kind of experience with scripted enemy paths. Mm-hmm. And so all of these ideas kind of came together at the right time, right around Game Jam, to form the beginnings of Fortnite. And the inspiration for Fortnite really kind of came from that. As kids, I know everyone has built a fort in their living room, or in the woods. If you were lucky enough, we had woods in our neighborhood that were really crappy, but it was everything that you would find in the forest, like that piece of plywood, or that cardboard box, or even collecting acorns to use as defense against intruders. The inspiration for Fortnite really kind of came from that, and that This is that exactly that experience where you're scavenging in your environment, which you may know really well or may be totally new to you, and everything that you find could be really, really valuable for building up your fort and really making it awesome.
My turn?
Yeah.
Sorry if that was a really long answer.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
So this question is the one that I'm really excited to ask. Fortnite is going to be on PC?
It is a PC-only project right now. So it's been really great for us as a platform because I kind of mentioned before how we really do see this as a living project for the studio. And the PC platform allows us that flexibility. It allows us to be able to do lots of updates at regular intervals and not have to worry about people not being able to play together, or it being any kind of closed platform. And it also is helping the engine a lot, the UE4, because we're not targeting super high-end crazy PCs. We want to still allow as many people as want to play, who want to play Fortnite to be allowed to play Fortnite.
You kind of feel like we're getting back to our roots a little bit.
Absolutely. And so it's been really fun, just being able to focus in the PC space. Keyboard and mouse, baby.
Yeah.
Now, Fortnite has a very distinctive sort of stylized look to it. How did that come about?
Oh, so that's a great question for our art guys, but I have I've got the backstory, I think, pretty well down, which is that, so originally Fortnite actually started as more survival horror, believe it or not. It was really spooky and dark, and the enemies were a little bit more, like, really creepy. And as they started to develop out that art style, they started to realize that the game that they wanted to make was a lot more lighthearted, had a lot more humor, just a lot more fun, kind of at a basic level. And so I believe it was Chris Perna, our art director, who had the idea to, what would it look like to take, a Pixar universe and combine it with like a Tim Burton type of universe with a little splash of Looney Tunes, like in the animations and the effects and that sort of thing. And that seemed a little bit more like a good direction, for the project as a whole, where it was going.
Right.
And so they did a bunch of tests, concept art, and it just was a no-brainer. For us as a company, it's a totally fresh and new look, and it's been great for the guys to be able to experiment with a completely different art style and, just have fun with it. So that's kind of how it came about.
Well, you've already covered this a little bit, but could you tell us a little bit more about the gameplay of Fortnite?
Yeah, so just to people have been asking me, what genre does it fit in? What is it? Is it a shooter? Is it an action game? Right. Well, the genre that we've been kind of calling it internally, and it still sounds kind of open-ended, but it fits perfectly, is a co-op sandbox survival game, meaning that we're building it as a co-op experience. This is a game that's going to be really fun by yourself, but it's going to be the most fun with your friends when you guys are scavenging and building and fighting off the enemy horde together, right? And it's sandbox because our worlds are totally dynamic, meaning that everything that you see, even today, even if it's the same world, the containers that you see will be there tomorrow, but the things that are inside them could be different.
Right.
The buildings, world to world, are going to be different. The things that you find, world to world, are going to be different. And so it's kind of up to you and moving around this world and playing in different worlds with your friends to explore and discover the uniqueness of items and stuff, that's in the world. And then on the survival side, so we've been really experimenting with how does combat and enemies fit in really well with the building and scavenging and exploration experience, because it can't just be one thing that stands on its own, right? And so having just really creative enemy designs that you have to strategize. What kind of building do you build depending on what kind of area you're in or what kind of enemies that you're going to see. Fortnite is a world that's dangerous all the time. Just at night or at various times of the day, it can be more dangerous than others. So you need to prepare for that, right? And so if you have a really weak structure that can be very easily taken down by a certain type of enemy but not another, or we've got very sneaky enemies like our troll who he can't do a lot of damage to your structure, but he will just open doors for other enemies and just let them in. So if you leave your door unguarded and you don't have something built up around it, then it's that's all strategy that you have to play into when you're surviving the night and fighting the enemies. So
how does building work? It seems like there's an ability to build a variety of different things pretty quickly. In games.
Yeah, so our whole mantra for building is that it needs to be really fun and easy to pretty much plan out your entire structure. And so when you're planning out your structure, it's the weakest level. It's our level 1 wood. It's like framing out a building pretty much. Once you have an idea for something, as long as you have the resources, you can very quickly blueprint in the level, in the world, what you want that building to look like. Once you've got it all set up, then you can decide strategically or for looks purposes what kinds of things that you want to either change into different materials, and there's different resource types, or you want to upgrade your walls or windows or floors or stairs or pillars or balconies with different types of upgrade levels depending on what kind of enemies are going to come and attack your structure, or like what you're trying to defend. And so you're with building, you're going to be able to frame stuff out really fast, and then you get to be strategic and determine, okay, how am I going to go about doing this? And if you're like the type of person that's a completionist, you'll be able to, make an amazing looking structure, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
What are some of the cool things that people on the team have built?
Oh gosh, well, a lot of trademarked things, of course, because that's like the first thing you try to do. But there's the Trojan horse, Mayan temples and Mayan ruins. What's really fun, which is kind of like not unique structures necessarily, but our environments they have so much terrain difference, and like you'll see a big body of water that you want to cross. And so part of the fun of building is even just like figuring out a way to get to the other side of like, how do I get there? I know there's going to be something cool there on the other side of this, big body of water. And so, you have structure. You can't build something in the middle of nowhere, right? So it's very interesting, like figuring out how to get
there.
Yeah, get to that point. But yeah.
Cool. All right, thanks Tanya for joining us. We're gonna let you get back to your Comic-Con.
Sweet.
If you guys like what you hear, make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Also check out epicgames.com/community for the latest from Comic-Con this week. Until next time.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.